Okay. Yeah, now I think so.
Perfect.
I should start the video. Yes. Yes. Now I can see. You can see me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. Uh, Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the webinar on Green Supply Chain Management by Dr. Sarbjit Singh. First of all, I would like to tell you something about Mr. Sarbjit Singh. He's the co-chair at International Ergonomics Association Technical Committee. He is the VP at NIT Jalandhar, Associate Dean at NIT Jalandhar, and he's going to be the keynote speaker for today's webinar. And we are really thankful for you to join us today, sir. Now, what green supply chain management is that it has evolved from supply chain management, and the goal is to minimize or eliminate wastages, including hazardous chemicals, emissions, etc., along the supply chain. Now, I'll over to you, sir. I would like for you to give us a short introduction about you so that we have all our viewers who actually know you, and then we can start with the presentation.
Yeah, I have a 24 years of experience of teaching in industrial and production engineering on various positions like associate dean, associate professor, deputy dean, and head of Department of Industrial and Production Engineering. So my specialization, I have done my PhD in supply chain management, and my master's degree and bachelor degree is in industrial engineering from India. All the degrees I have obtained from India. And I visited as a visiting professor at Norway Technical University, as well as I have supervised 7 PhD students, as well as more than 40 master's thesis. So today I will be discussing a quick overview on green supply chain management at IEOM student chapter in Concordia University, Montreal, Canada. So first of all, I welcome all of you all the participants who joined today's webinar. I welcome you all and wish a healthy life to all of you. I hope all of you are healthy and all your families are well. Due to this pandemic, you know, everybody is going sick. So I wish health to all of you. So let's come to the topic today, the green supply chain management. First of all, I will just want to give you an intro why we want to go green, why we need this. Supply chain management is already working perfectly. Why we are calling and we are evolving a new word that is green supply chain management, why we are going green. This is a map of HGH greenhouse gases global mapping. You can see here, first of all, I just want to give you an overview picture of the environmental conditions. So the greenhouse gases, you can see here that US and China, these two combined percentage of global total, it is around 37 or more than 37% greenhouse gases are being emitted by these two nations. And if we add up the EU with it, 13%, it totals around 50%. So these three regions are, you can say, contributing around 50% of the total global percentage of greenhouse emissions. And if we add up the two countries, India and Russia, around 10% it is, so it exceeds to 60%. It means these are the 5 regions which are the biggest, I can say, polluters, or which are emitting more greenhouse gas emissions into the environment, into our earth systems. So we know that, yes, here we have to concentrate. We have to make our supply chain green in these regions. If we see all over the world map. And then if you go to the per capita emissions, our target, which is being framed by UNFCCC, that is United Nations Framework Convention for Climate Change, which was formed in 1992 in the Earth Summit at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And what they have, this data shows that the average level of emissions by 2050, which we need actually, that is around about 1.7 tons CO2 equivalent. So this is the target line, but by 2050, how the countries will be doing. This is being shown on the map. Australia, USA, Canada, Russia, South Korea, Japan, and EU. You just see that from the average which we need, actually, what is our target being capped by the United Nations, they are going far away, all the developed nations actually. And here are the emerging economies, China, Brazil, Indonesia, and India. So the world average is 5.9. We have to cap it at 1.7. Till date, India and Indonesia are in per capita emissions, they're near to it. But yes, we want everybody to be here on this. This is the agenda being given by United Nations. So that's why we have to think about going green and supply chain. You know, when we are making any product, supply chain is one of the most important aspect of any product or any services. It has a value in the manufacturing sector as well as a service sector. So this is the area where we want to consider the environmental picture into the supply chain management. So in the next slide, now where is the problem? We will discuss just in a single slide. Where is the problem? The problem is because most of the nations are democratic, and our democracies are being hijacked by the corporate power, and they are preventing meaningful actions. That's why to the crucial issues, we are unable to, the crucial issues like climate crisis, global warming, ozone depletion, GHG emissions, and we are preventing the meaningful actions. That's the biggest, you can say, hitch into our targets, to achieving our targets. So the future of our planet demands that we should put the sustainability of our planet before the corporate profits. This has to be done very quickly, because if we will be only we are running for our corporate profits and ignoring the environmental cost put into it, into our planet and earth systems, then I think so that's not the future. That's not our future. That's not the future of our generations. This is being quoted by Al Gore, former vice president of US and Nobel laureate. He's an eminent environmentalist too. So we have to prevent the dangerous interference with our climate systems. That's the target being given by the sustainability goals developed by United Nations. So that's why we want a green supply chain management. Now, come to the green supply chain management. It has many words. It is also known as low carbon supply chain, sustainable supply chain, eco-friendly supply chain, environmental supply chain. So these are some synonymous names for the green supply chain management. And now we come to the, what is green supply chain management? Green supply chain management is integrating an environmental thought process into our existing supply chain management. Integrating the environmental thought. That is important. That's why I have given you the overview that why we want environmental thought process into our supply chain. So where we want that thought process into our supply chain, we want to include into our product design, material sourcing and selection, manufacturing processes, delivery of the finished product to the customers, and end of the life management of the product. These are the few important aspects of supply chain management, or important activities of supply chain management, where we want to put this environmental thought process. So we have to look into the whole product life cycle. Like you may be knowing about the product life cycle, most of you. So we have to put a green thought into the product life cycle, starting from a design to the manufacturing to the distribution and to the end of the life cycle, management of the product. So most important aspect, what I think so, in greening the supply chain is the design part as well as the end of the life cycle management part. Now, if we have to put the environmental thought, we have to put into the design aspect. If when we are doing a new product design, or we are redesigning the existing products, so we have to put the environmental thought process here. Only then we can enhance that thought towards the manufacturing and distribution and towards the end of the life cycle management of a product. So why end of the life cycle management is important? Because most of the manufacturers or most of the services, they end up here up to the customers. They have a target that yes, we manufacture, we distribute, the product or services go to the customer, that's it. What about the end of the life cycle management? When the product expires or when the product life is at the end, then how to dispose of that, and how to recycle it, how to remanufacture it, how to refurbish it. All these thought processes are started here after the end of the life of a product, when the customer uses that product. So how to redesign these systems of end of the life cycle management, or how to refurbish, how to reinvent. So this is one of the most important, because here the waste reduction, we have to reduce the wastage, and we have to reduce the environmental impact of that product into our earth systems or climate systems. So these are the two most important aspects where we can implement our thought process of going green of our supply chains. So next we will be discussing in next slide, it is how green supply chain management and what's the difference between a traditional, how it differs. So in the green supply chain management, we have a both economical as well as ecological agenda. But here in traditional one, we are thinking only economy. I already said, yes, we are thinking about the corporate profits only, but we are ignoring the ecology and the environment. So here our agenda is both economical and ecological. Green supply chain management, people have some kind of different views that it may hinder our profits. No. Yes, in the initial stages, it may be, it looks like that, but after, if you go for a long term, then it has a good corporate profits too. And next one is environmental impact. So we have naturally we have a very less environmental impact in green supply chain versus the traditional supply chain. Then if we go to the supplier selection criteria, So it is a little bit pricey. The green supply chain management may have a more pricing into it when we are giving our environmental thought process into the supply chain. Yes, but in the long run, I already said that yes, it may be the profits will be there, no doubt. But here, and we have a long-term relations with the suppliers. But in the traditional one, we have a short-term relation with the suppliers, and we switch the suppliers very quickly in the traditional one. Here, we have a long-term relationship with the suppliers. So when we come to the speed and flexibility into the supply chain, yes, the traditional one may be having more speed or flexibility, uh, more speed, not flexibility actually, more speed, but here green supply chain management may be having a lower speed. But in terms of flexibility, I think so, green supply chain management maybe is more flexible in a longer run, not in a shorter run. Then the next one is again, we have a target here to minimize the emissions in green supply chain management. And in the traditional one, there are excessive emissions already. In green supply chain management, yes, we optimize the resources, optimize utilization of resources. You know, the 5 M's, I think so. You may be, everybody may be knowing 5 M's. 5 M's means man, machine, money, material, method. All those 5 M's has to be optimized. So optimize utilization of 5 M's. These are the 5 resources, what I can say. Then waste generation is, it's a huge reduction in the waste generation in the green supply chain management. And here in the traditional one, we have a lot of high environmental waste. If we talk about the economy, it's a traditional economy. We think only about the traditional economy in the green supply, in the traditional supply chain. But in the green supply chain, we go for a green economy, green budgeting, green money. Those kind of things come into the picture in green supply chain management. So this is a picture which depicts the traditional one and the green supply chain, the both pictures. You can just see in the traditional one, it's a set procedure. We have to supply the goods through through the manufacturing and distribution channels to the consumer. That's the agenda. But here you can see that we can optimize the things. We can bypass the various, the set distribution channels. And for example, I can give you one example where even now in digital manufacturing, I can say that is the extension of a green supply chain management. In digital supply chain management, uh, uh, we are using the additive manufacturing. And when we are using the additive manufacturing, everything, the manufacturer and consumers are connected directly, or in few cases, in few products, consumers also can become the manufacturers. And ignoring everything, the whole of the distribution channels, distribution systems has been ignored. And in digital supply chain management, the consumer can become a manufacturer. So what a different kind, here we have a very different kind of atmosphere in green supply chain management as compared to the traditional supply chain management. So our main mission is to minimize the emission of greenhouse gases, optimize the uses of resources, and waste reduction. These are the main targets here. And we achieve in green supply chain management when we discuss few cases in other slides. So what are the aims? I already discussed that yes, our aim is to continuously improve the industrial processes, products, and services to reduce or prevent the pollution into the air, water, and land, into our climate systems. and minimizing the risk to humans, other species, and ecosystem, and moving towards the green economy. These are the green supply chain aims. Now, uh, what are the drivers? How one can be drived towards the green supply chain management? What are the drivers of green supply chain management? I am just giving the quick overview of all these things. First one is compliance. And what is compliance? Compliance is we have environmental laws, regulations, and I will take example of cars. Uh, we have a Euro 4, Euro 5, and all the countries, they have started having environment emission norms for the cars, for the automobiles. All the automobiles, we have emission norms. So manufacturers are, you can say, compelled to comply all those standards of emissions. So there are some kind of frauds also one Volvo has done in their softwares too, because compliance is very sometime for the corporate profits. Even huge companies like Volvo, they have done like that. It was a big fraud. It was in the news that they have a software fraud in the emissions, in their automobile emissions. But yes, they were forced to comply the norms because of the governmental conditions or environmental standards being set by the various governments or United Nations framework on climate change. So when it comes to competitiveness, now again, I will give the example of automobiles. When it is competitiveness, now Tesla, what Tesla is doing, it's disrupting the market. It is disrupting, going towards the e-vehicles, electric cars. So Volvo has also started their electric trucks, and all the Mercedes has also started the electric trucks. So competitiveness, because Tesla was one of the pioneers. So everybody started. Now Toyota, Honda, they are forced to go to the started manufacturing the electric vehicles because customer want it, customer need it. Customer now started looking towards the electric vehicle or electric automobile vehicles. So to meet up the competition, because and comply the norms, environmental norms, and meet up the competition and need of the customers or the market, the companies are forced to implement the green supply chain management policies. So this is when there are environmental regulatory compliances, businesses are forced to meet those regulations, and they go towards the green supply chain management. And then there is a need from the market customer for eco-friendly products. So companies are forced, their drive towards their, and their competitiveness. I have given you the examples already. Now, what are the benefits? Benefits, green supply chain management has improved working environments, low waste treatment costs, reduced energy costs, better public image of a company, improved waste utilization by reuse, recycles, or refurbish, or redesign, then decreased packaging cost. Uh, Packaging is one of the important aspect nowadays because a lot of plastics is being used in packaging, and due to that we have a lot of waste generation due to the plastics. So few companies like beer companies, they have now reinventing their that bottles into the paper bottles. I have read somewhere just a few days back that few beer manufacturers, they have started a paper packaging bottles. And here we have in a packaging, we have a lot of wastage. In this COVID era also, you may be, there was in the news that the corrugated boxes were in shortage. So everybody, whosoever is, because of the online grocery ordering, and corrugated boxes were in shortage, and it was in a huge shortage still. So we have to look into these kind of things. Then next, I will discuss more in the case studies. Then improved employee morale, and there is an effective environment management system. We lower the cost of production by recycle and reuse or recover. Then enhanced customer loyalty, because Tesla has proved that yes, there is they have enhanced their customer loyalty because of going green. And then reduced waste disposal costs, low maintenance costs, improved brand value of a company, reduced waste storage costs, and lowered the transportation costs, increased eco product market opportunities. Yes, here green, these are some of the benefits of green supply chain management. Now, what are the components of the green supply chain management? The major components of green supply chain management is green manufacturing, green purchasing and sourcing, that is green procurement, we can call it. Then green distribution, transportation or warehouses. Then reverse logistics, then green marketing. Digital marketing is already, I think so, a green marketing. It reduces the carbon footprints. Now, I think so these are very vast topics to discuss. I can discuss each of the component in another lecture. I can deliver a lecture on each component, and I think so next time I may meet you again on these topics, that I can discuss green manufacturing in detail, green purchasing or green procurement in detail, green distribution in detail, reverse logistics in detail, and green marketing in detail. So in the next series, I will try that I should explain everything in detail. But yes, in all these major components, we are just enhancing our environmental thought process so that the environmental impact is reduced. So this is a picture which tells us a little bit about what is green procurement, green manufacturing, distribution, and what is the waste management. Here, in green procurement, we select the suppliers who are eco-friendly. Like, for example, we just when we are purchasing the organic products, so we have to select the farmers who are producing those organic products. So that's why we can sell it in our shop or in the mall. So then recycle, recover, and reuse here in the green procurement. Then ICT use, more digital usage in procurement systems can enhance the green supply chain management activities. Then in green manufacturing, we have to do the hazardous substance control. Energy efficient technologies are to be used. Again, waste minimization and 3 Rs to be implemented: recycle, reuse, recover. And CDMs. CDMs is cleaner development mechanisms that we have to develop in the process, in our manufacturing process, how we can make it clean and how we can reduce the wastages or environmental impact. Then green distribution, we have to design the green warehouses, we have to design the green transportation and logistics, and green packaging. So waste management, again, we have to design our waste management systems, that is end of the life cycle management program, which I have already discussed, that where the final product has to go, And yes, we have to recover, refurbish, and these three are again being used here. Then waste collectors, there is a third party waste collectors nowadays available in the market, which only processes the waste. So we can have those third party waste collectors too. So this is the how we can integrate a small example how we where we have to integrate the whole activities of green supply chain management, and specifically the reverse logistics. So when we are when material is coming from the supplier to our stores or warehouses, here comes the green procurement into the picture. When the material goes to the production flow, into the production line, here we have to enhance the green manufacturing activities. Again, when we have an inventory of finished products, and that product has to move to the customer, here is the green distribution comes into the picture. And when it goes to the end of life, customers use the product, the life has expired for that product, and then it has to go to this is the reverse logistics where it comes into the picture. And reverse logistics is here also, because when a finished product, we have a finished product inventory, we may be having a defects when we have produced the products in process inventory, or we have produced finished product inventory. There are some defects here, and these defects has to be reused, recycled, and reassembled, and then again it can be moved for further production. And here, after the end of the life of the product, it can be reused, recycled, refurbished, and again a reused material can go to the supplier, and again it can enter into our production systems. So this is the whole systems which depict all the activities of green supply chain management. It's an overview again. I am again stressing that it's an overview. So a few of the examples, green sourcing, I have given you an example of organic farming, organic products. Now, the second example I can give you that leather products. Most of the leather products, you may be knowing that they are not coming from the developing countries. They're coming from the not from the developed countries, sorry, they're coming from the emerging markets, developing nations. Why? Because it involves a lot of pollution. Leather products does the water pollution, and where the compliance is easy, the rules can be, you can say, there are not strict rules, and there is more corruption or something like that. So the leather products are coming only from those countries. They are not coming from, they may be assembled in Europe, but yes, they are not. But yeah, when we are thinking about the green sourcing, we have to think that we have to buy the products from those companies which are minimizing the pollution. We can't ignore 100% pollution free products from the leather specifically, but yes, it should not go into the water streams, because in countries like India, China, or Indonesia, the manufacturers throwing that waste without treating into the water systems or into the rivers or into the water streams. So when we are thinking for the green sourcing, we have to reject all those suppliers who are having a tainted image of throwing something into the environment. So not only leather products, for every product, when we are thinking of the green sourcing, we don't have to purchase products from those who are polluting our environment, maybe in any country. So the meat industry, there is an example that there is a PETA organization you may be knowing, that people for ethical treatment of animals. So under the green sourcing, the buyers are not buying the meat from those companies who are not treating the animals or killing the animals unethically. So that is one of the example. Then food grains. Food grains, again, it has a big problem because of the excessive uses of pesticides and fertilizers. The food grain supply, we are not getting that good quality food grain products from the major countries like India and China because of the excessive usage. There is a less control of usage of fertilizers and pesticides. So here there is a big problem, and sometimes there are export rejections also on the basis of these. So we are moving towards the green sourcing, yes, but we still many things has to be done. In green manufacturing, I can give you the example for the paper mills, that paper mills have started segregating the paper and plastics. You may be using the notebooks daily, or you may be reading the books daily. The front page is very glossy, which is being laminated. There is a plastic lamination on the front page of the notebooks or all the books which you read. So most of the paper mills are that specifically the cardboards or brown papers, they are from the recycled paper. So when this paper is being recycled, this plastic is mixed into the paper and the quality of the paper is being reduced. It's not high quality paper being manufactured. So they have started segregating that plastic before it go reprocessed. That paper is reprocessed. The plastic is being segregated from that. So this is one example that quality also improves. The profits also improves, and a new product plastic is being recovered from the wastage. Then coal washing units, because before the coal comes to the various locations, it should be washed at the coal mines so that the ash content can be reduced, and ash should not be transported as it is. Then there is an example of a milk plant, that is milk whey. When we are making the cheese, a few small manufacturers, specifically, not the big one, not the large manufacturers, and small manufacturers in India specifically, they are throwing the water after processing the cheese, and that they're throwing that water into the system, into the sewerage system or into the garbage systems. So it is polluting the water. So it can be reused, and because it has a very high protein value, it has a milk whey, and most of the large companies, they have started doing like that, but small scale sector still has to work on it. Then green warehousing, we have to design the food grain storage systems specifically. Again, I will give the examples of India. We are still storing into the gunny bags. We don't have the velos, the big velos where those food grains can be stored and its quality can be maintained and wastage can be reduced. When it is being stored in the gunny bags, it is being left open into the air, and there is a lot of food grain wastage in India. You can, again, it is a big topic. We can discuss it again. Then energy efficient warehouses. We can have a solar energy plants in the warehouses, etc., to enhance the green warehousing activities. And this is a transportation, and come to the green transport. This is one of the most important aspect of logistics, and green logistics is very important. I can give the example of a quick example of a Delhi Metro, New Delhi Metro. When it introduced, most of the people who were traveling in their cars, they have stopped and they have started using metro. and a lot of carbon emission has been reduced. Now I will give you a very interesting examples of green transportations systems. They are based on rural areas, they are based in poor areas, and they are based in emerging economies or developing economies. Why I am focusing on these two examples more, because we always think, when we are thinking anything, any thought process, we want to have any idea in our minds. Most of the time we think urban, we never think rural, or we don't design the things as per the needs of the rural market. And rural market is a very huge market in emerging economies, in developing economies, and even I think so in developed economies too. It has a huge market. But yes, we always start thinking urban. We always start thinking which is for the developed kind of systems. So we have to stress more on the rural poor areas so that it has a societal impact too. So greens, how green logistics, green transportation can have a big societal impact as well as environmental impact. I will discuss in the next two examples. The first example is Triveni floating mall. This is in India, and another one is solar powered floating school, which is in Bangladesh. So again, I am stressing that this was an overview of a green supply chain management, not a detailed version of it. Next series of lectures, I will really love to give you the more details on every aspect of the green supply chain management. So this floating Triveni superstore, you just see that this is a supermarket named Triveni, which is which was launched around maybe 5-6 years back in the backwater area of Kerala, Alappuzha. And it is really making the waves and doing the average business of rupees 50,000 every day. And this is a pure rural area where this supermarket is being run. And what they are doing, it is on the various jetties. Actually, it is on the various jetties. It is a floating supermarket, floating mall. And what they are selling all the home needs, including the refrigerators, TV sets, subsidized rates, and on the subsidized rates, yes. And it was being started by a government agency called Consumer Fed, which is being run by Kerala Tourism Department. And this backwaters of Kerala, this is most tourist visiting place in the world. One of the most tourist visiting place in the world. So what was the problem here? The problem was that the consumer has to, because there is no way, they have to go through the backwaters, the waterways, to go to the market for the shopping. But here, what is happening, instead of customer is going to the market is coming to the customer. That's the beauty of this example. That customer is not going to the market, but market is coming to the customer. It is floating, and the villages around those waterways, the backwaters, they are purchasing the items. And this is one of the advertisement of that market. You can see this is in the ship. This is not in English.
బాన్సువాడ పట్టణ మరియు పరిసర గ్రామ ప్రజల యొక్క పెరిగిన జీవన ప్రమాణ స్థాయిని, నిత్య అవసరాలను గుర్తించి ప్రామాణికమైన, స్వచ్ఛమైన, నాణ్యమైన, మన్నిక గల వివిధ రకాల బ్రాండెడ్ వినియోగ వస్తువులను అందించడానికి మార్కెట్ లోకి అడుగుడుతున్నదే ఈ త్రివేణి సూపర్ మార్కెట్. మా వద్ద శుభ్రం చేసిన నిత్యావసర సరుకులు, కిరాణా వస్తువులు, పప్పు దినుసులు, బియ్యం, కాస్మెటిక్ వస్తువులు, ప్లాస్టిక్, గాజు మరియు పింగాణి వస్తువులు, పూజా సామగ్రి, ఆయుర్వేద వస్తువులు, స్టేషనరీ మరియు జనరల్ వస్తువులు, గిఫ్ట్ మరియు నావెల్టీ వస్తువులు, ఎలక్ట్రికల్ వస్తువులు, పిల్లల ఆట వస్తువులు మొదలగు నిత్య వినియోగ వస్తువులు లభించును. త్రివేణి సూపర్ మార్కెట్ ప్రత్యేకతలు: నాణ్యమైన సరుకును రాయితీ ధరలకు అందించటం, మా వద్ద కొనుగోలు చేసిన సరుకును డోర్ డెలివరీ చేసే సౌకర్యం, కంప్యూటరైజ్డ్ బిల్లు విధానం, హోల్సేల్ ధరలకే రీటైల్ అమ్మకం. సదా మీ సేవలో త్రివేణి సూపర్ మార్కెట్, బస్ స్టాండ్ ఎదురుగా, బాన్సువాడ. ఫోన్ 08.
This is how it looks. This is a floating mall, Triveni Superstore, and this is the outer look of that mall. It floats and go to the villagers and they shop there. So a lot of carbon emissions are being reduced. This is, you can see from the inside. Here the store clerk is working with the customers. Here the customers are shopping, and you just see that why it is being successful in the water, because there is a very less turbulence in the backwaters of Kerala. So these shelves can be maintained in a very good manner because of the low turbulence. So next example. Now in the next example is a solar floating school. This is from the Bangladesh. This is again some kind of innovative idea, you can say, for a green transportation. It is in a rural Bangladesh that there was a lot of dropouts because of the flooding. That was a problem because students were unable to go to the schools because of a lot of floods in that area. And due to when there are monsoon season, then every school is closed and everything become flooded. So there was interruption in learning, and the children were dropping out. So in 1998, an Bangladeshi architect known as Muhammad Rizwan, who had grown up in rural Bangladesh, and he has this idea. He designed a waterproof floating school in 2002 and launched that school there in the flooded area of Bangladesh. So what was his motto? His motto was, if the children can't come to school for the lack of transportation, then the school should come to them by boat. So it is a school on a boat. So Bangladesh has a very limited natural resources and is strongly impacted by the climate change. And this makes it very difficult for the people. And here is one solution which helps the communities. This is one of the environmental solutions. You see this school on a boat, and students are joining that school. Here you see the classroom, the teachers teaching there, and all those computer screens and all projectors are being displayed here. You see a computer lab in it. Here students are working in a computer lab, and here is a small library in the boat. Here is a teacher teaching here. You just see a very good design of a layout where more students can be accommodated and everybody can interact easily with the teacher. Effective utilization of resources, I can say. So these are the examples I wanted to discuss with you. So for today, I'll be discussing only this only quick overview of the green supply chain management. I hope you may have enjoyed. It was a short one because I was given a 30 minutes time. So it is already, you can say we are on the verge of the time. So next time I will like to discuss more on green manufacturing and green distribution in various lectures. So thank you for joining me. Thanks a lot, Ujjwal. And special thanks to Professor Anjali. She pay my regards to her too, Ujjwal. Uh,
Definitely, sir.
so thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sarbjit, for first of all taking out time and giving us this amazing lecture. Like all these examples were really good. I know, like because we have this time limit on Zoom for 30 to 45 minutes of having a meeting, that's why we had some time constraints. But definitely, we'll have another lecture with you on the other topics that you wanted to talk about today, because we might just get kicked out of the meeting on our own, and we'll have to rejoin. So I just have a quick question on when you were talking about the beer manufacturers of how they are making different, the packaging is of a different material to reduce the wastage.
Yes.
Well, for me, because I was working at Siemens for 1 year, and what they do is they were making parts of engines, and those small parts were coming in like regular boxes, which is made out of cardboard. So they were having a lot of problems for placing those boxes because they have particular barcodes and different types of identification criterias on them.
Mhm.
So if we talk about green supply chain in warehouses, how can we, what could be the possible tools that we can use or different ways that companies can use inside a warehouse?
Yes, that's a very good question. Nowadays, to minimize the reductions and minimize the cost, and you can say again optimizing the man, machine, money, material method 5 M's. There is one technology that is cobots.
Okay.
Yeah, and you may have seen there that has been introduced by Amazon and Alibaba both in their warehouses, and they
Oh,
are battery operated cobots, and they move all the items from here and there, and it's very efficient. The work which is done by the forklifters, that is being done by the cobots.
all right.
Yeah, and if you see there are some I can even discuss on those also in the next videos. They are very interesting. The
Definitely.
cobots, the way they are working, they charge themselves very quickly. They themselves go to the charging stations. They charge themselves, and they again come, and it's all the IT.
Yeah,
They have been given a particular path, but those warehouses has to be designed for those cobots. They can't work
definitely.
in the previous the traditional warehouses. They can't work. We have to redesign our traditional warehouses for those. That can be
Definitely.
one of the tools. Yes.
Definitely. So I also developed a technology using UAVs, like unmanned aerial vehicles, which we call the
Oh,
drones.
yeah.
So it was basically to eliminate manual labor because there were a lot of issues that the warehouse facility was facing with the parts and the placement, and where the bin area is, and having the part at a particular instant, because the supply chain keeps on working, it doesn't stop for anyone.
Oh, that's
So
interesting. Yes.
exactly. So the bots are being used by a lot of big companies, but they have a lot of capital. But for small warehouses, as we're talking about green supply chain, how they can eliminate the waste reduction, because there are a lot of chemicals and motors and a lot of machinery that is involved in day-to-day build areas and
Yeah.
for making things. So yeah, definitely, this presentation was really informative about how we can how different places are eliminating waste by the boat that you showed, that like how there are shops inside it and whatnot. So thank you so much once again. We'll be discussing more about further upcoming topics. And thank you so much for our viewers for joining us. We hope to see you in our next webinars as well with Dr. Sarbjit and other professors and dignities as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Ajay.
you, sir.
Thank you
Have
very
a
much.
good day. Take
Bye.
care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
You too.